Hello everyone, today we're here to introduce the Sanlien Data Acquisition System, also known as SanDAS. SanDAS is a cross-platform desktop application designed for instrument configuration, data acquisition from most of the standard Sanlien instruments, and offline event data analysis. Before we proceed, let's go over the system requirements for SanDAS. If you're using a Windows system, please make sure that you have at least Windows 10 installed to run the software smoothly. For Mac users, please make sure your Mac is running at least OS X El Capitan, version 10.11.6. In terms of hardware specifications, SanDAS requires a CPU with the minimum speed of 2.5 GHz or faster, with a recommendation of 4 cores or better. Additionally, it is recommended to have a minimum of 8 GB of RAM and a solid-state drive with a capacity of at least 10 GB for optimal performance. Let's begin with the installation process. Upon purchasing SanDAS, you'll receive an email containing a zip file download link, a license key, and a tutorial video link. Start by unzipping the file and then right-clicking on the exe file within the folder. Next, select Properties and navigate to the Compatibility tab. Check the box labeled Run this program as an administrator and click Apply. Once these steps are completed, simply double-click on the sandas.exe file, and it will open automatically. For users accessing SanDAS for the first time, navigate to the Help tab and select Registration. You'll be prompted to input your email address and license key to proceed. It's important to note that the Analyze functionality is an optional feature. Customers must order separately and obtain a valid license key, which must be entered during installation to unlock access to the Analyze menu within SanDAS. Additionally, ensure your computer is connected to the internet to generate the required authority code. However, please keep in mind that the license is valid for use on one computer at a time. If you wish to use SanDAS on another computer, simply click on Help and uninstall from the menu bar. Enter the license key and authority code, then click on Uninstall. This will guide you back to the registration steps. When SanDAS is installed, we're ready to explore its features. Let's begin by familiarizing ourselves with the main window components. You will find Menu Bar, Toolbar, Station Setting, Status Table, Recording Toolbar, and Version Info. SanDAS allows users to analyze data from recorded data or acquire data from instruments. To acquire instrument data in SanDAS, navigate to Settings in the menu bar and select Configure Station. Within the Configure Station settings, you'll find 2 panels: Adding Station for configuring new stations, and Configure Station for managing existing ones. You can input your station name here and select the appropriate instrument. While some controls are optional depending on the instrument, these details are necessary. When you change the instrument from the drop-down menu, irrelevant controls will be disabled automatically. By default, all controls will autofill when you select an instrument unless manually changed. You can enter the IP and port directly or use the search button to discover available instruments or serial ports. Click OK to confirm and your device will appear in the Configure Stations panel below. In the Configure Station panel located at the top left corner, there are 3 blue buttons. From left to right, the first button allows you to delete checked stations. The second button opens the streaming window, and the third button opens the channel information window. Under the function column, you have the option to switch the streaming mode. Here's what each mode signifies. 0. No streaming. 1. Streaming with 16-bit resolution. 2. Streaming with 16-bit resolution and checksum. 16. Streaming with 24-bit resolution. One of the key features of SanDAS is the ability for users to configure their instrument's parameters through it. To do so, please open the Instrument Setup Manager by clicking the instrument you would like to adjust. The default setting window for most instruments will appear directly. though the content may vary slightly depending on the selected instrument. Now let's focus on the upper part of the window, known as the FTP File Manager. Here you will find your local storage path for your downloaded file. Right next to it is the Files Filter selector, which changes the content of the local file list when selected. Browse, change local storage path. Bin, list the files which download from the bin folder. Rec, list the files which download from the rec folder. Log, list the files which download from the log folder. etc, list the files which download from the etc folder. Below, you will find a list of files filtered by the Files Filter selector based on their local storage path. Files can be opened by double-clicking. Additionally, there's a specific editor, the vALERT editor, available for vALERT-A.CFG and vALERT-A.COMMON.CFG, providing specialized functionality for these configuration files, which makes it easier to edit files. Main functions include WYSIWYG, autocomplete, and format check. The three middle buttons offer essential functions. The first refreshes both local and remote file lists. The second allows downloading selected remote files. The third facilitates uploading chosen local files to the remote storage. Next to the refresh button is the remote path selector, which adjusts the content of removed file list based on the selection. Below it, you will find a list of files from the remote path filtered by the remote file path selector. Files can be downloaded and opened with a double click for easy access and management. Below the FTP Manager is the Station Settings section, as we have previously discussed the process of adding stations, so therefore we won't reiterate it here. For any questions, please refer back to the earlier part of the video. Next, let's delve into the Network and NTP Settings section. Focus on editing two Linux configuration files. The left side network setting panel allows the editing of the etc network interfaces file, accompanied by a file operation button group in the panel header. The buttons from left to right allows you to save current settings to a template file and previewing it, opening the original file downloaded from the remote, refreshing all input values from the original remote file, uploading and restarting the service, and downloading a remote file. On the right side of the network setting is the NTP setting. Similar to the network setting, NTP setting also features a file operation group. Additionally, it includes an extra button with a plus sign, allowing users to create a new text field at the button of servers. Now let's shift our focus to other tabs. The General, Connection, System, and Real-Time panels exclusively display values while the streaming mode is set to 1. However, just a friendly reminder, they can only transition to edit mode when the instrument is paired. So let's delve into the real-time panel further. At the top of the real-time panel, there's a trigger test section where you can input the gal and duration parameters you would like to trigger. You can also simultaneously open the streaming panel to observe the wave changes. Since we have completed setting up our instruments, we're now prepared to explore the next feature of SanDAS, real-time data streaming. SanDAS offers two types of streaming viewers for displaying real-time streaming data: display mode and data streaming. Let's begin by discussing the display mode first. To access display mode, simply navigate to the station toolbar and click the display mode button. This mode is designed specifically to provide an overview of all channels' streaming status. It can display up to 108 channel graphs simultaneously. However, the graphics resolution will automatically adjust based on the computer's performance. For a full resolution graph, please utilize the data streaming mode. Once the channels are displayed, you can explore other functions by right-clicking on the channel. Numerous functionalities are awaiting your exploration. For instance, the Arrange Channel function permits you to adjust the number of columns and rows you wish to display. Additionally, you can add, remove, or sort the channels as desired. The countdown time and performance feature allows adjustment of parameters such as the maximum duration display on the horizontal axis, chart redraw interval, and chart reflash interval. A note regarding the calibration function. The calculation steps may vary depending on the type of instrument being used. Now we have covered the basics of display mode. Let's talk about data streaming. Please navigate to the Station toolbar and click the Data Streaming button. Compared to the display mode, this mode only displays up to 5 channels of full graphs at the same time, but offers greater efficiency. By double-clicking the chart, you can adjust the vertical axis to auto range. Additionally, there's a function button bar located at the top right corner of every graph. From left to right, the first button is for displaying time domain data. The second is for showing frequency domain data. The third is for displaying both time and frequency domain data. And the fourth button is for setting the current vertical axis scale as default. If you wish to stop or start the updates of data streaming, please navigate to the Station toolbar and click the Stop Streaming button. We have covered the basics of data streaming. Now let's delve into another feature of SanDAS, data recording. Most types of Sanlien instruments can provide data streams through the serial communication channel. Typically, this data can be recorded as CSV and SAS files by SanDAS. By default, SanDAS is set for manual recording, which requires you to specify the duration of each file recording. However, there's an advanced setting available in the Data Stream Manager Setup panel, which we'll discuss later. You can easily start data recording by utilizing the Recording toolbar located at the bottom of the main window. Simply click the Recording button to initiate the recording of streaming data, which will continue until you click again. Upon stopping the recording, a dialog window will appear, prompting you to decide whether to open the recorded file. To access the Data Stream Manager setup, you can either navigate to the Settings option in the menu bar, or simply right-click the icon next to Manual Recording and Setting to open it. You can configure all file record-related parameters here. In the initial section of the recording settings, the default mode is set to Manual. However, if you prefer the data to be recorded automatically upon SanDAS activation, you can select the Auto mode. The max length parameters enables users to set the duration of recording time for each file, measured in seconds. In the Auto mode, SanDAS will automatically create a new file when the data recording length reaches the specified value or when the file size exceeds 60 MB. The Start At parameter determines the number of seconds to begin recording. Furthermore, the time source setting allows users to choose the source for data receive time. Selecting instrument means the package time sent from the instrument will be used, while choosing OS indicates that the time will be sourced from the operating system. Regarding the file path setting, users can configure the save file path format. An example path will be displayed below when the combo box is changed. Users have the option to select the type of recording file at file type. CSV is a plain text file where data fields are separated by commas, while SAS is SanDAS standard binary file format. The SAS format consists of 3 sections: the fixed length header section, 512 bytes fixed, the variable length header section, and the data section. The data format is determined based on the file type selected. For example, you can only change your data type when your recording file is set to SAS. Lastly, let's discuss the data analysis feature in SanDAS. This aspect of SanDAS has been specifically developed by Sanlien for strong motion, earthquake engineering, and civil engineering data analysis purposes. Please note that the analysis functions are only available for users who have a valid license key and authority code. To access the data analysis feature, navigate to the menu bar, click on File, and then Open to load the data you have previously recorded. Once the data is loaded, move your cursor to the graph and right-click to reveal various functions that can be applied to the graph as needed. After selecting the desired functions, navigate back to the menu bar and choose Analyze to access the available algorithms. Select the algorithms you are interested in, and if necessary, the parameters window will pop up for you to configure. When the first algorithm is applied to the original dataset, the current window is split into two parts. The upper one displays the original datasets, and the lower one displays the analyzed data. And you can continue applying algorithms to analyze the result of the last step. However, if you need to cancel the previous operation, simply select the Undo option from the Analyze menu. Last but not least, you can adjust all function parameters by selecting the parameters under Analyze. We have covered the basics and features of SanDAS. SanDAS provides a comprehensive set of tools for instrument settings, real-time data streaming, data recording, and data analysis. If you are interested in this product, please visit www.sanlien.com for more information. Sanlien Technology, be the frontier of environmental monitoring.